Common Coffee presents A Bed of Roasters with your host, Kirsteen McKenzie. Common Coffee.
Welcome back to the Bed of Roasters, the podcast where we brew up great coffee and even stronger connections. And today I'd like to welcome to the bed Jack Ravenscroft, coffee trader and fry-up aficionado, so I'm told. You've been put under the proverbial bus. We've got some intel on you, I must say. Okay, but we won't go too into it just now. First, we've got to get to know each other a little better, and of course, welcome also Larry to the bed. Back again from the first episode of the podcast series. Of course, the dog of the owner of Common Coffee, the reason that we're all united here today.
I met Larry years ago, and I think he was 3 months old when I first had him. And every time I see him, I feel like he remembers that first visit, because he's always super friendly. But he's a little bit more horny today than he's ever been.
And we're not supposed to be roasting Larry, we're supposed to be roasting each other. So we'll get onto that in a minute. But as I said, we do first need a coffee. And I just wanted to also introduce myself. I'm Kirsteen McKenzie, I'm the host. You know me perhaps as Jason's ex-girlfriend who's convinced him to do this podcast. But you know, I'm also a DJ, I'm a mum, I make radio. That's a little bit about me. So actually we went out for dinner as well. So that was
Got enough intel last night from dinner.
Today's coffee is the pod coffee. You know a little bit about this, I'm told.
I do. It is a single origin from Brazil, from an estate called Terra. They're 50 years old, family-owned estate in Patrocínio in Cerrado. And Gruta, which is the name of the coffee, is super sweet, super chocolatey, really nice body, everyday crowd pleaser.
It sounds like a good date.
So yeah.
Okay. So Jack, when our coffees get here, part of the challenge of this setup, you know, we're in bed, it's comfortable, but it could also be a little bit uncomfortable when I start roasting you, when I start making you laugh, and you're supposed to make me laugh, and then if we spill the coffee, you know, you're going to be losing points. If you roast me, then you're going to be winning points. So we've got this chart over here. You're represented here with the new Common Coffee logo. I'm the complex coffee. And so the idea is the more roasted I become, then literally you know what these colors represent, I'm sure. The roasting of the bean itself, you're trading in these green beans, but you could end up over here burnt to toast. So let's see how we get on, and let's have Jason with the coffees.
Who will be this season's Roasty with the Mosty? Common Coffee.
So for this episode with Jack and Kirsteen, we're going to be serving them our new pods, just been released on wholesale, and maybe by the time this episode airs will be released as a retail version. Right, so we're going to be brewing the pod on this beautiful Morning machine. We're really happy to be partnered with Morning. Great addition to your house or your luxury hotel room. Just open at the top, you're going to drop the pod into here, close it down. The machine connects to an app, and you can preset all the different settings that you want. We've got a few on here already. These can all be altered as your preferences. So we've got the single espresso, got a mini filter brew, manual brew, and a classic espresso. We're going to go for the mini filter brew today. It is a natural Brazil from Terra, sourced through Dr Wakefield, who Jack works for. And then a little bit of information about the outfit I'm wearing. Jack and I have been to a few festivals together prior to working in coffee, so I'm just trying to catch him a little bit off guard.
Oh, wow.
How we going?
What a treat. So these are the pod coffees, are they?
These are the pod coffees.
And what are you dressed as?
Down, please. This is an outfit that Jack might remember from a few good times that we've had.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, also...
I dragged him along to a festival with a broken arm. And just a cut from a little trip down memory lane. We met at a coffee festival. Yeah.
When was it? 2018? 2017?
2018. When we were launching Common Coffee at London Coffee Festival. And Jack was working for Keep Cup at the stand opposite. And yeah, and he was very welcoming and supportive.
Cheers, Jess.
Chin chin. And cheers to you. All right, so the first category is the morning routine, which suits us well as we are in bed, and the time of the filming of today's podcast is the morning. So actually, I do need a sip of this before we even start. Okay, but we do have to hold them in bed. That's kind of part of the thing.
Okay.
So
Okay.
watching it. So morning routine. Before we knock into some roasting, let's hear it. What is your routine?
Monday to Friday, alarm goes off at 5:55, and try and get out the door by 6:10 to get the train at 6:20.
That's a tight time frame.
Tight shit. I'm pretty good in the mornings, opposite to my partner Jenny. She wants to sleep as much as possible. So the idea is the alarm goes off, out of bed, out the room straight away, brush my teeth and out the door. Go for a swim or do some Pilates. Jenny's got me into both of those things. So that's been relatively recent over the last 18 months.
You got one of them Pilates machines?
No. Get
They
someone
cost a
else.
fortune, don't they?
Yeah, someone else teaches me to do it.
Okay.
And then into the office for 8:30 with a little bowl of porridge on the way. Yeah.
On the go, and active and quick. And my first roast for you, young man, is your morning routine. It sounds so efficient. It makes Mark Wahlberg's 4 a.m. workout look like a sleep-in.
He goes to bed at like 5 a.m. as well, right?
He's a machine, that young man, that old man.
Speaking of efficiency, you said being late is genetic. Is your addiction to doom scrolling genetic as well?
Wait, is that? I think the real roast here is Larry humping you. And yeah, genetic doom scrolling. Doom scrolling is no good, as is his behaviour. So excited today. Jason, come and get your dog. We'll have to catch up with Larry again later. Okay, next one. 3 words to say. Ice bath, dude.
So, as of last summer, I've started doing cold water swimming,
Yeah.
which I know is a bit of a cliche, but my best friend Karis got into it and she wanted some company. So I thought I'd give it a go. And it's nice. It's addictive. And what's the addictive bit is not the swimming itself, but the sauna afterwards.
Is it?
Yeah. So been trying to go. This has been my first winter. Last year I started in the summer, chickened out when it got too cold. But this year we've been going twice a week, every week.
Do you know there's people in the town where I live that do it even through winter, and I live in the French Alps. It's wild. I can't even fathom it. Sounds awful.
Yeah.
What's wrong with you?
I've got 3 words for you.
Yeah.
I arrive early.
So yeah. So I don't know if it's related to the ice baths, but definitely doom scrolling. That's on me. I'm never on time, as you know, as we've mentioned.
Well, you were all right last night. You were on time last night.
Yeah, but that's because everybody was like arriving around my schedule, so I can't adapt to other people's schedules. I can't remember numbers. I don't really even look at the time. I just sort of float around, and if it works out, it works out.
This has been hammered into my best mate Henry. Has got a obsession with being on time to everything.
Yeah.
And as a result, I've kind of like followed in his footsteps, because if I arrive late to anything with him, he's not happy. He always says, is your time more important than mine? Is that why?
Oh, okay.
So that
like an
sits in the back of
emotional
my head now.
blackmail.
Exactly.
A temporal blackmail.
But it sticks with me. So now, yeah, he's one of the reasons I'm always on time.
Oh, Mr. 9-minute wonder. That's what she calls you. That's how long it takes you to get ready and out the door. Your partner says your 9 minutes include duvet farts.
Lovely.
Care to comment?
Well, I'd say it's probably a bit rich coming from her. But yeah, I fart in bed, don't we all?
But is this something that you do like as like a revenge thing?
No.
Just on accident?
No.
It's not like, oh, got to get my morning fart in. Bye.
Hey, she's half asleep anyway, so I'm not quite sure how she's got
Not
time.
so deep in her sleep that she's not hearing what you're up to. Like,
Yeah, or it's conjecture and it's made up.
maybe. It could be. I did not verify, no fact checking done on my part.
She also didn't tell me that she'd said that, so it's charming.
There you go. Now you're in hot water, or are you in hot air, or are you I don't know, Dutch oven, whatever. I'll leave the next roast up to you then. Maybe it's a little bit on the subject of my form at the dinner, perhaps.
As soon as we sat down, like pretty trendy, handsome guy came over with a nice moustache, and you started flirting with him straight away.
Well, I mean, I wouldn't.
led with "Are you an actor?" and then closed with a crazy line. I could see you in a World War I biopic. You look like a lean, mean, trenches fighting machine. What's that about?
You know, honestly, I have this thing where people, for me, if I meet somebody, I'm immediately going to place them in a certain era.
Okay.
I'd be like, oh, you look like somebody from the 70s. You look like somebody from the 50s, you know, and he looked like...
Straight to World War I.
He just had that look about him, you know? And I don't know if you did... At first I thought like he could be in the Titanic. Like, that's what I said. Yeah. I also made a reference to the Titanic because he had that look about him. They're kind of in the same time area. No, I'm not very great at numbers. But yeah. And there was just like something about him. He just looked like he could be on the silver screen, and I just couldn't keep it to myself.
He was pretty baffled, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was.
Not sure he quite knew how to take it.
But apparently they were in the trenches anyway, as a lot of people who work in hospitality are. So, you know, he was very quick fire back with the...
Yeah, he was quick fire back.
Band.
He was quick. I think he was on the back foot. He had to say something fast.
Yeah. If something comes into my mind, have no filter. You're a Jack.
I am a Jack.
When Titanic came out, were people like, oh, Jack, hit on my door?
Not really, but I did date a girl called Rose.
Oh, shut up.
Yeah.
You didn't.
I did. 16, 17, 18
Why
years
didn't
old.
it work
3
out?
years.
She let you drown?
So there was Titanic references there. And now my brother is called Luke, and he's dating Leia. Yeah.
No way.
Yeah. So had Rose and I
That's
asked...
not even... That's a little bit weird because they're brother and sister.
Yeah, it's a little bit weird, but still fun though.
I still kissed in the movie though, so... Ugh.
What was the favourite last night? You got pretty excited about the oysters?
Yes, definitely the oysters, without a doubt. The oysters had jalapeno sauce, and I wouldn't think that matched very well, but it was incredible.
Yeah, it was
like
good.
a hot sauce with oysters.
Yeah, it was good.
Never had that before. It was so good. It was like a hot sauce with a seaweed base, right?
Yeah.
Kelpie.
Yeah, it was delicious.
Yeah.
Big fat oysters as well.
Oh my god.
So it was really nice.
Don't get me started. We're too early for oysters.
You were pretty tactical with your ordering as well.
Yeah.
Ordered like lots of small plates and then demanded to eat
Everybody
a little bit of everybody else's food, including my main, which I specifically said I wasn't going to share.
But, you know, you were very forthcoming about not sharing, and yet very generous.
Yeah, well, I didn't have much choice, did I?
No. Well, it's not like I had anything to hold against you, like, you know, a questionnaire that your girlfriend filled out in a bunch of roasts.
Yeah, that's all you've got so far is farting in bed, which is fine, so I'm okay with it so far.
We'll see. Let me see what else I've got here. You travel a lot for work.
Do travel a lot for work. Yeah, it's one of the nice bits of a job. Both in the UK, so I work just with coffee roasters in the UK, so I get to travel around England, Scotland, but also to Origin to see the producers that we work with.
I travel to Origin. Sounds like a cool name for a movie. Voyage to Origin. What is that? No, you have to explain. I travel to Origin.
Travel to Origin.
What do you mean?
In coffee.
Yeah.
The country where a coffee is produced.
I mean, I could have guessed that, but you know, not everybody would have guessed that.
No. But maybe people watching this might know.
Probably.
So yeah, it's really, really nice. So last year now, 2024, I went to Doterra, actually, the farm where this coffee was grown.
Yeah.
And the idea is for us as the importer, so I work for a company called Dr Wakefield, to continue to build the relationships that we have with the producer partners, and then also to take coffee roasters that buy those coffees and connect them with the producers as well, so that they can tell the story, they can learn more about the coffee that they're buying.
In the past, 10, 15 years, has telling stories become more important than before?
Yeah, I think so.
And have you been able to therefore increase the price?
Well, I think there's like specialty coffee, right? So I tend to work with specialty roasters. We at Dr Wakefield buy coffee from full quality spectrum, but what differentiates roasters like Common is they buy traceable coffee from producers with very particular farming practices, and a lot of the value they get from that coffee will be the way that it tastes, but also the stories that you can tell, the fact that you have that traceability and the fact that you're able to build those connections and relationships is what I think is one of the big reasons that makes specialty coffee what it is, and what differentiates it from high street coffee or supermarket coffee without those stories.
Yeah.
So traveling to origin's a massive part of that.
So that's why the supermarket coffee it's not the same price, because they don't have a story.
Yeah, it'd be one reason. Yeah, for sure.
But also the quality.
Also the
Which
quality.
comes down to the taste. So.
And there is I'm not anti-supermarket coffee. I think there's a space for all coffees in the market.
A lot of people can just drink it for the caffeine.
Yeah, but the reason that I work in coffee is to work with, specialty roasters. That's kind of the world that I focus on. And telling those stories, independents working with independents, like trying to do the right thing where possible.
Is it like a secret society of sippers?
Is there a secret? Yeah, well, there is. People always laugh, but there's like a master of coffee.
Is there?
Called a Q grader.
Okay.
A master of Arabica coffee. I think there's about 130.
Master of Arabica sounds kind of fun.
Yeah, it sounds cool, right? Or Q grader sounds pretty cool, isn't it?
Could be the sequel to Voyage to Origin.
Could
Master of Arabica.
It could be. But they're the secret society of coffee tasters.
Okay.
Yeah, it's pretty intense 1 week exam.
Have you done it?
I haven't. No, it's on the. It's in the plans for this year.
Okay.
But we've got.
Has Jason done it?
I don't think he has. No. But there are a few knocking around. It's quite a lot. You have to do like solution tests to pick up acidity and bitterness, and you have to be able to like identify the odd one out in a triangulation of coffees.
Who will be this season's roasty with the mosty? Common Coffee.
We've just gone through 2 sections now of the roasting. We've been through the morning routine, then we skipped right into the dinner category, because we had dinner last night, and personally I feel quite roasted and attacked. It's usually quite disproportionate with the guests because they don't know much about me and haven't met, other than Jason, of course. So I'm feeling it's slightly more roasted this time than usual. I'm going to have to move myself further up the chart than you. So as you know, green represents the bean that's fresh and hasn't been roasted at all. You're feeling
me.
fresh.
Yeah, that's me. That's good.
AF, and I'm not anymore. I've been roasted, so I'm going to go over here. Okay.
It was those chat up lines with the weight of it on you, I think.
But this is important, because if you don't feel roasted at all, then you're going to win, because you've hardly moved at all. So let's just take a second and let's just think about this. I'm going to take a sip of my coffee. We got you with the farts, or you don't care?
No, it's fine.
Unroasted,
All good.
okay? You're just too cool for school, so chill. I tried to roast you about the ice baths, again, non-plus.
I don't know. I feel like it. I don't love that cliche that's going to come across. So
Okay.
maybe you got a little bit of that.
Okay, slight roast. All right, so then we're going to move you just slightly forward, because you've only been slightly roasted at this point.
Happy days.
Happy days for you, because you might be going home with this trophy, the Bed of Roasters trophy, which, by the way, you've already seen because you slept in this bed last night.
I did. It's pretty weird walking in. We went for dinner, came back here a little bit drunk, which I think might have been a tactic from you to like disarm me a little bit this morning. And I walked in and there's like a camera rig set up everywhere as I got into bed.
And
Didn't make me
the
feel
light.
that comfortable with the lights. Yeah. But that's all right. I got over.
Did you do a little photo shoot for Jenny?
Yeah. That's maybe that's the first time you actually got me.
Oh.
Yeah.
Too late.
Yeah, too late.
Too late. The roasting's
You've already
done.
done the movements.
Yeah. Tell us about Newton Sinclair, aka Bill, your Jamaican granddad, who was the life of the party.
Yeah, so my mum's dad was born in Jamaica, moved to England for the Second World War as like an aircraft engineer, and then stayed here and retired to Pembrokeshire And so he was a pretty there weren't many 70-year-old Jamaican men with afros living in Pembrokeshire at the time. And he built a disco in the basement of his house, and he'd have parties in rural Pembrokeshire.
No way. What kind of music?
Yeah, mostly reggae music.
Nice. I was thinking, because you said a disco, I was like, oh, but then it was a bit of a stretch to think that he was also listening to disco music. So I was like, surely he's into the reggae.
Yeah. He can I say this? He used to grow weed in his garden in Pembrokeshire in a little polytunnel.
I don't know. Is he going to get in trouble? Is he
Oh,
going to lose his with that?
Yeah.
No, he's safe then.
My brother and I, our middle names were named after our grandparents.
Yeah.
So I am Jack Allen Ravenscroft, named after my dad's dad, which was fine, but like not particularly interesting.
Yeah.
Whereas my brother is Luke Newton Sinclair Ravenscroft.
Yeah.
I think it's a pretty powerful name.
Very also kind of Harry Potter.
Very Harry Potter, yeah.
Yeah.
So I think I got the short straw there.
Okay, so life of the party, Newton Sinclair. So he's growing his special cigarette ingredients in the basement, and he's got his reggae music disco. But what else was he bringing to the party? Obviously an accent. Can you do the accent?
Nah, I can't do an accent. No way.
Big up the whole island, massive. It's your boy Chatana.
Is there something that he used to say all the time? Some sage advice?
Big up, tune in.
He actually, so on his accent though, when he moved to Pembrokeshire, he set up the answer phone of their like landline phone.
Yeah.
And I don't know, a few years passed, and he was in conversation with my mum saying that he thinks he lost his Jamaican accent since he's been living in the UK so long. And he certainly hadn't. He had an extremely thick Jamaican accent.
Yeah.
And to prove it, my mum played back his answer machine like recording to him, and he refused to accept that it was his voice.
Really?
Yeah, because the accent was so strong. He like disassociated from the accent so much that he refused to believe that it was him.
We're going to actually move on to the next category, which is the surprise category. It's the sales category this episode, because I feel like that's kind of what you work in, sales, in a way. You're a coffee trader is the title, but you have to have all of these contacts, and at the end of the day, the bags need to move, the money needs to move. It's kind of like working in sales.
Yeah, for sure.
It is.
Definitely. Yeah.
So I don't want to offend you by being like, you're a salesman.
There's a little bit of a buying bit, right? Trader reply. So I'm probably like 90% sales, but 10% buying coffee from origin as well.
Is there any industry that's quite parallel to the one that you're doing?
I imagine like, food and drink as a whole, right? I think quite community focused.
I was thinking it might be chocolate beans. Or...
Yeah. Chocolate for sure. Cocoa's a little bit behind, I think, when it comes to traceability and speciality. Yeah. People still haven't got their head around paying £7 for a chocolate bar, which is typically what like specialty chocolate costs. Whereas specialty coffee is in a weird place, right? That you go to a really fancy cafe and you probably pay the same price that you pay in a high street chain.
Yeah.
So it makes it more accessible for the consumer. But I think like anything, I think sales is about building trust and network and community. And when you've got that, if the product's good, then it becomes a lot more simple, right? If people can trust on you, and if people can trust in you, and people can trust...
I like that, trust on you.
and trust the product that you're supplying, because the relationships we have are so solid and so long term, then the sales kind of look after themselves, I'd say.
Is there, like, how do people lose them, like, in your industry? What?
How do people lose sales, lose customers? Yeah, I mean, I think if you deliver a bad product, right, whether you're someone's mate or if you trust in them, then that's not helpful for a coffee roaster, especially independent roasters who rely so much on the quality of the raw product. Maybe laziness as well. If you stop taking an interest, stop asking the right questions.
Which is why you get up at 4:55?
5:55.
Drinking our last sips of coffee. How much have you got left in there?
I'm done. Well, pretty much done.
Tiny little sip. The pod coffee. How did this relationship come to be, where you provide the green beans that then get roasted, that then get ground down, that then get shoved into a pod, that then gets... I'm lost. Is this how it happens?
Yeah, I guess so. I
Okay.
mean, because Jace is friend first, so when he came knocking and said, I've got a space in the range and yeah, I'd like your advice. I was there to step in. And I'm confident in the coffee, so.
But you managed to sort of mentally appropriate the product, even though you didn't really do anything. But your beans are so important in it. It's like, well, you could say that's my pod. Like, I made
Yeah, it's
it.
nothing to do with me though, is it? It's Doterra.
Yeah.
If anything, it's Doterra's pod. It's got nothing to do with me.
Yeah. So you don't appropriate the final product.
No way. No. But I'm proud to be part.
But Jason did. He said, "Oh, that's his coffee. It's his in the pod." You know, that's how he sold it to me.
But I guess to Jace, it's like the next in the person in the supply chain is me, right?
Yeah.
Whereas to me, the next person in the supply chain is the producer.
Oh, yeah, that's an interesting way to look at it.
So for me, like Doterra is tied to a guy called Gabriel who, I don't know what his title is, but he runs the farm. So when we spent the week there, he was the one that looked after us, showed us around.
Yeah.
But I'm sure if you ask Gabriel, the person that he associates Doterra with will be someone that works the farm, one of the producers.
Not a lot of egos in the coffee industries, it seems.
Well, there probably are some, but yeah.
At least not in your company.
Not in this chain. Yeah, not in
Not
that
in this
company.
chain. Well, we've been through it slightly. How did you get into this?
I guess I fell into it a little bit. I started out working in cafes, like most people that end up in coffee, out of university.
And then in Keep Cups.
And then in Keep Cups. And then I worked for a really cool cold brew company, like ready to drink cold brew. But sadly, that went into liquidation in lockdown.
That's kind of ironic.
It's very good. And then at that point, so it was like 2020, I kind of had this experience in coffee, but was without a job. Obviously, lockdown was a tough time for loads of people. And so I got a job as a greenkeeper on a golf course for 6 months during that summer and moved home, had some time to reset.
Oh, wow.
Which was nice.
I could have done so many good roasts about salespeople in golf.
You could have done.
Oh, man.
That's quite a niche.
But they are, you know, all over the green. Green beans, oh God.
Next time, got my like trainee role in green coffee.
Okay.
And I was there for 2.5 years and then joined my current role 2.5 years ago. So I've been in this space now for about 5 years. Feel pretty lucky. Yeah, it's really interesting. Get to work with really cool people on the producing side and lots of contacts and friends that I've built up over the last 10 years on the roasting side in the UK.
Last question on this category. Have you ever taken a bribe?
No. Have I ever taken what with work? No. I do have a customer that, as well as selling coffee, distributes olive oil.
Okay.
Really tasty.
Slippery
olive
slope.
oil. So yeah. So I maybe visit that roastery once more a year than I otherwise would, because sometimes I walk away with a little bottle of olive oil on the side.
Okay.
But
So it's not like in the
soft bribe.
It's not like in the medical you know, like they always get in trouble. Like doctors are pushing certain things. Be like, oh.
No. I don't do that.
No.
And even if I did, I definitely wouldn't admit to it on a coffee podcast when I was like.
Fair play.
Do people know what you do?
Yeah, I mean, I briefly mentioned it. I said, you know, I'm a mom, I do radio, and I'm a DJ. But yes, it's like I have a lot of hats, I suppose, as a lot of mums do, especially single mums. But I was saying to Jason, I only do stuff that I like to do. Like my time is very precious. It's like that's why I only do things that I'm passionate about, which is why this podcast appealed to me so much, because I do love coffee and I'm addicted to it, although I know nothing about it. So it's been very interesting.
Yeah, you said something last night that stuck with me, which all your decisions are made based on your passions rather than
than money,
Than money.
for example.
Yeah, it's a cool outlook.
So yeah, the gossip segment is really off the cuff. I wrote in here about the coffee industry's behind the scenes drama, but you've kind of described it as pretty simple.
Yeah.
So I actually wrote, without naming names, what's one piece of juicy industry gossip you can share that won't land us in legal trouble?
I'm not one for gossip.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like your character.
I mean, there is one thing about coffee, and I think lots of food and drink worlds, is that it is so small. Everybody knows everyone. And so, yeah, news gossip does travel fast. So yeah, for sure, there's loads that pops around. It's probably not my place to say it, but I think
Tell-all book down the line.
say that.
Put it in the tell-all book down.
Yeah, put it in the tell-all down the line. But I think it's an industry where it's really important to have a little bit of integrity and be honest, because I think if not, you get found out pretty quick.
Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
Us being me and Larry, of course. Real star of the show, real star of the podcast. Yes, you are. Let's get the scoreboard up here now and review.
Who will be this season's roasty with the mosty? Common coffee.
As aforementioned, we have the coffee bean colours as they roast on up. You're mainly dealing in this green one on your day-to-day, and as it so happens, your little personage here isn't moving out of the green either.
Unroasted.
You are unroasted almost, yeah, I mean, basically. And me, I've made it into this yellow part. You went easy on me, to be fair. And I think that probably puts you in equal pegging with Roberta. But we're gonna have to probably do some kind of cut frame where we're gonna put them side by side. They could be, you know, a millimetre, centimetre difference.
Or we could do rock, paper, scissors on Zoom.
Oh yeah, you do rock, paper, scissors on Zoom. So we'll have to see about that at the end of the series. Who's gonna go home with the Roasty with the Mosty trophy? Could it be Jack? Or will it be Roberta or someone else we haven't met yet? Stay tuned.
Big up, tune in.
Meet you back in bed for another episode of A Bed of Roasters. Available now and filter free on all top streaming platforms. Common coffee.